All throughout human history are references and mentions of incredible cities that litter the world, only to never be found even in the modern day with the usage of state-of-the-art archaeological techniques and satellite imagery. These cities are often regarded as lost cities, and though there is debate on whether or not they once truly existed, clues and stories are being passed down through many different generations and cultures. The Amazon rainforest is an incredible location with a vast history, housing ancient pyramids, temples and cultures. But one recent discovery has caused some to ask whether this is the location of an old mystery. This mysterious carving can be found in the southeastern Peruvian Amazon, and the local indigenous people have known about this for many years, and have even given it the name of Rostro Harakabat, also known as the Harakabat face. Although the giant face is known in the area, it was essentially rediscovered by a US-based oil firm, who were at the time carrying out work in the area. One of the workers was cutting seismic lines through the jungle, and also setting off thousands of explosives underground, something that the locals weren't happy about. It was argued that the face was of particular value to the indigenous people, and was looked upon as a watcher over the jungle. An amateur filmmaker wanted to know more about this incredible design, and so put together a small team who would venture into the jungle and try to find the mysterious carving. 9 indigenous men accompanied filmmaker Paul Redman into the jungle, and one of the leaders, Taori, said the following about the experience. 4 years ago, working with a Harakabat clan we'd heard about from the elders, the Rostro. It means a lot to us. The Rostro has always existed. The problem was we didn't know how to get to it." End quote. The team travelled through the jungle and eventually found the carving, to which Taori said the following. "This is a reunion with our ancestors. I think this could strengthen our people. It was very emotional seeing the Rostro." During the release of the film, the Burmese Communications had this to say: "The very existence of the carved face has been the stuff of legend, passed down for generations among Harakabat families, but few among their people had ever seen it." End quote. Tom Belwick from the Rainforest Foundation also visited the mysterious carving, and he said that after looking around he thought the rostro was sculpted. He said the following: "There are no other rocks remotely similar in shape in that river valley. It's perched perfectly overlooking a valley, and presides over a waterfall and a basin that resembles an amphitheatre. There are markings all over it that indicate that it was hacked out with rudimentary tools. There are actually 2 rostros, a rostro within a rostro. Look below the nose. The boulders along the river are arranged in a way to channel the flow from hitting the rostro's face directly, and in a way that would make it impossible for the face formation to have been caused by impact from even the heaviest of storms. The Harakabat don't have a written history, but claim the rostro has been in their oral history for generations and generations. Interestingly, this has led some to theorize that perhaps this carving is actually the entrance to the lost city of gold, also known as El Dorado. Argued by many different historians and archaeologists from around the world that this city is nothing more than old myth and legend for amateur treasure hunters and enthusiasts, the lost city of gold known as El Dorado is still widely debated in its existence and purpose in history. This has changed in recent times as a variety of long-believed mythical cities built by the many different tribes of Native Americans have been discovered hidden in the South American jungles that otherwise could not be spotted by even the best satellite technology of the modern era. This mysterious city has been a difficult task for modern-day archaeologists and researchers, as myths of the city has led countless men throughout the 16th and 17th century to a hopeless end. Originally, legends told of an entire functioning city built from the ground up out of pure gold and incredible jewels, located somewhere at the top of the remote Andes Mountains in the region that is now present-day Colombia. Interestingly enough, when the first European settlers visited the region, they found the remnants of a tribe located at Lake Guatavita that would celebrate every year by conducting a strange ceremony. This tribe believed there to be a god living at the bottom of the lake, and so would cover a man in gold dust before having him throw all the gold and precious jewels they'd harvested that year into the lake, and they did this in order to appease the god. This ritual continued for what was believed to be centuries. However, when the settlers searched the lake, they only found a small amount of gold and treasure that should have more than filled the area. It was then believed that perhaps the city of gold called El Dorado, which is a name that refers to a man covered from head to toe in gold dust, was created by the gold in the lake. A few centuries thereafter, many went in search for this mysterious city, but nothing was ever found. Since archaeologists in the modern era have combed the lake, they found intricately made gold artifacts and jewels that many theorists argue could only have been created with knowledge of advanced technologies. This has led many to speculate that perhaps the gods living in the water were real beings, and that they could have been the original creators of the city of gold hidden somewhere in the Amazon. Could this mysterious carving be the first signs that the lost city of gold is based on fact? It's interesting that the indigenous tribe said this carving had been there long before many of their ancestors, and this could be proof that an advanced civilization had been living in the Amazon thousands of years ago, only to have been lost to time and covered up by the thick trees of the Amazon. Found among the dense vegetation are hidden worlds with complex structures and more hidden artifacts and civilizations than anywhere else in the world. This means that millions of undiscovered strange artifacts have been lost to history all throughout the world's dense jungles and forests. However, over the years a number of these have been discovered by researchers. The Mayans believed in the nature for life. For them, nothing was ever born and nothing ever died. This belief actually inspired their view on the cosmos and the gods. Just like the Egyptians, Mayans were also brilliant astronomers and mathematicians. Various interesting photographs have started to make their rounds on social media, showing what appears to be ancient Mayan artifacts. Something that stood out about these though is the shape of these objects, with some saying that they look eerily similar to mysterious flying aircrafts. It's tough to track down who first posted the photographs, as many of the social media posts have been translated, and since being posted, various people have gone on to share the images in other groups. One user by the name of Diego posted the following message: "Looks like another haul from amateur diggers. Not sure where these ones are from, but sources say close to the pyramids. These diggers are quick and can dig out these tunnels overnight. They're usually made up of teams and don't work alone. The more people involved in the job means there's a quicker turnaround. I know a digger who's now retired from this work, and he says the photographs are usually posted long after the items have been sold. They hit the underground markets as soon as they've been found, and most of the times these diggers already have buyers who are waiting. So although some of them go to these underground markets, a lot of them don't and they're just sent overseas." End quote. This isn't the first time that strange artifacts have been found in this area. Back in 2020, one report stated that these artifacts were discovered during the building of the Mayan train. At the time, construction work was underway to build a large railway in Mexico, with the construction beginning in December 2018. Those who live close to the region said this wasn't the first time that these artifacts had been found in this area, and that the majority of them were coming out of an area known as Quintana Roo. There's no other way to describe these artifacts other than they look like other life forms, and this has had social media users convinced that they're the real deal. Not everyone was so impressed with the findings though, with one Mexican archaeologist saying that these are fakes, and that although they were allegedly found with other Mayan artifacts, it's thought they were placed there in order to make the findings seem more genuine. With others saying the following: If this was the real deal, it would be one of the biggest archaeological discoveries ever made. I can't find much information about this either. Searching Google only brings up a few results. I think these are fake." End quote. Another user said the following: "One of the diggers said that there's a big market for them, and that they have people waiting to buy these artifacts. That for me is a red flag, because where there's a demand there's a supply. There's an incentive here for these locals to create these things, especially if it's big business. The sad thing is that maybe a few of these discoveries were genuine, but due to them already being sold and because new ones are constantly being created, it's likely that you'll never see them again." End quote. Another interesting discovery comes from that of the ancient Mayan civilization. In the 7th century, Pakao the Great was the ruler, and during his reign he oversaw some of the most impressive sites in Palenque. During this era, this civilization was able to build things that many would say weren't possible. They built complex streams that would transport them fresh spring water. But there's one image of the ruler that's caused a lot of speculation among certain groups. The image in question depicts the king descending into the Maya underworld, and all around the carving we see objects that are said to represent celestial objects. This includes Venus, the sun, and the moon. Some researchers though have suggested that what this shows is the ancient Mayan civilizations working on their most recent invention, and that the structure has something to do with space travel. Our ancestors were obsessed with space, and all over the world these ancient civilizations found ways to observe the cosmos. As of right now, archaeologists have said that the carving isn't important, and doesn't have anything to do with the cosmos. But others disagree, saying that the Maya people were close to developing something that may have taken them to the stars. This is of course hypothetical, but in recent years researchers have been able to find writings that prove that ancient man was interested in space. Another interesting discovery was made in 1961 in Romania. An engineer discovered a strange looking manuscript, and while looking through it something caught the researcher's attention. It turned out the papers were detailing concepts about rocketry, and this existed in a time when inventions weren't meant to be around. The individual who worked on these designs was a man by the name of Comrade Haas, and he lived between 1509 and 1576. Interestingly, although he was able to design these incredible concepts of rocketry, not much is known about his life, but due to the findings by the engineers caused scholars and researchers to become much more interested in Comrade Haas. One of the first things the researchers noticed was that these drawings were very similar to that of multi-stage rockets. This is complex rocketry, and this is something that consists of 2 or more engines that are placed on top of each other. This is normally used in rockets that need to reach high altitude. So the question here then is, why was someone hundreds of years ago trying to create multi-stage rockets? It turns out that Comrade Haas was a talented man. The manuscript that was found is over 450 pages, and it hints at Comrade Haas being a master engineer and someone who is looked upon during this era. The manuscript also details artillery and rocket technology. Comrade Haas was taken on by the military at an unknown time, and many have said this was because he would have been one of the most impressive engineers around, having a good understanding of rocketry in a time when not many people would have understood what it was. It's incredible that someone during this time was even able to come up with the ideas of rockets, and researchers have said he's the first person to put into writing the concept of multi-stage rockets, further saying that his concepts were put to the test and they did in fact work. Incredibly, his work doesn't stop there. He went on to design in detail spacecrafts, delta fins, bell nozzles, and even liquid fuel. It makes you wonder how many more documents are out there just waiting to be discovered. So what do you make of these interesting discoveries? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.